Hello, and welcome to the third episode of the Whips and Whimsy podcast. My name is Zenith, my pronouns are they, them, and I am happy you are here with me, whether you're new or whether you're returning. Welcome back or welcome. Come hang out. Let's have some fun. This is a place where I like to talk about the different whimsical things I'm working on, different crafty stuff that I've got going on in my life. Mostly it's knitting. More recently, I've just gotten into model kits. So we're going to talk about those at the very end. Stay tuned if you're interested. If you're not, that's fine. I hope that you have had a good week. I have had an interesting week. On the one hand, it has been a little bit dramatic, and I don't love that. On the other hand, it has been incredibly wholesome, incredibly whimsical, and I just feel like I'm surrounded by really great people. Last weekend, I held a little crafternoon at my house. My two best friends came over. We went and got brunch at this cool little German cafe in town that's like cash only and just kind of like, it's basically like this woman who is 85 years old and just kind of like cooking the things she feels like cooking on any given day. It's so chaotic. And in the best way possible. We had a great time doing that. Then we came home and we were working on our crafts, and my roommate, who is not much of a crafter but has decided she wants to get into crafting, came and joined us at the table. And so we were like drinking, tension tamer tea, and we're like knitting and crocheting and just having a really, really great time. And actually one of my friends was actually finishing up a birthday gift for me. My birthday is in February. And she was like, I haven't finished this yet, so I'm going to bring it to the crafternoon, finish it, and give it to you. And I was like, bet, let's go. So let me show you. I own the sun now. This is mine. My friend Mish made this for me, and it is so derpy, and it is so imperfect. And I love it. I love it in every way. It's crocheted. And she had to borrow cotton balls from me to finish the little things. They're all different sizes, and just all of it is uneven. And I think this is the best thing in the entire world. And she gave it to me because she said that I remind her of the sun. And I think that's cool. So here we are. I have the sun now. Yay. Anyway, that was one of the highlights of my week. We will get into the rest of the highlights of my week. Anyway, this is the first week where I have show notes. I'm very excited for this. And I'm going to maybe attempt to pay attention to them, or maybe just be a little bit chaotic and hope that you're along for the ride with me. We will see. I do have some notes for the intro, so I will maybe pay attention to those. The first is that this is going to be the first episode where I actually have acquisitions to show you at the end of the episode. I don't always buy yarn all through the year. I tend to buy yarn a lot in the fall. Like I buy like hundreds of dollars worth of yarn in the fall. And then I don't buy yarn again for like 9 months. I do this every year, and I know this. So I typically don't buy yarn the rest of the year because I know that like when the temps drop down into the 50s come October, I'm suddenly going to spend hundreds of dollars on yarn. And that's just how my life is. So I can plan accordingly with all of my budgeting. Just be like, I'm going to go feral later. Like, it's fine. But I do have some yarn to show you. So we will go over that. I also was very monogamous in my knitting this week. So I have 2 finished objects to show you. One of them is actually a surprise. I have 2 whips to show you because I actually did work on them. And that is it for knitting. So this might be a shorter episode. It might be a longer episode because I do have to talk about model kits at the end, and I do have the acquisitions. But I also thought it would be fun to talk about something that's kind of important to me, which is knitting magic and like fiber craft magic and the way that I incorporate that. I feel like I alluded to this a little bit in my first episode if you've watched that, but just in case, I am a Norse heathen. I'm not racist. I feel like that's the thing you have to say when you're like, yeah, I'm heathen, and then be like, white supremacists can go to hell. It is what it is. To be clear. And that's all my virtue signaling for the day. I practice witchcraft, and I incorporate that pretty extensively into the knitting that I do. I know this is probably not for everybody, but I thought it'd be kind of cool to share the ways that I kind of like intuitively weave magic intentions and magical stuff into my knitting in case you are interested. If it's not for you, that's okay. It doesn't have to be for you. That's fine. But I'm going to talk about it. And I think that's it for the intro. So let's talk about our pig parade for the week. First of all, and things that go in the pig parade but are not actually pigs, I have a new chili pepper on my chili pepper string. I love this. This continues to be the favorite thing I have ever made. It is so whimsical and so silly, and why not? It's just why not, you know? So anyway, I have a new little chili pepper here. This red one. This is the Barn Door Heather. I guess this is a spoiler for the socks that I have finished. Which I have in my notes to ask. If you have watched this episode or multiple episodes, do you have opinions on seeing spoiler yarns in the pig parade before you see the finished object? Does that bother you? If it does, let me know. I can switch it up. We can do finished objects first and then do pig parade. I just love leading with like the silliest stupid things. And that's my opinion, but like we don't have to do it that way. And then anyway, I also knit 4 pigs this week. And these are magical to me. Sorry, I'm getting them in line on my hand. Look at these silly little guys. These silly little babies. They're so cute. The one on the end is made with Felici in the color of the Good Guys. And so it has this like really cool marled effect because it's self-striping, but it also changes. It makes it look like he's either wearing a blue shirt or like he's just got no pants on. And I love that. I love all of these. I just think they're great. These little piggies are the Chichester the Pig pattern by Helen Apocalypse, also known as Apocalypse Knits. I use a size 3 needle and then I hold fingering weight double, which is why you get like the marled effect. Because it is fingering weight yarn, but it's being pulled from both sides. These are magical to me. And the reason why, I'm going to try to talk while I show you these one by one. And maybe I will keep my head on straight. And these are magical to me because I knit my pigs when I get home from work or when I am feeling stressed out. And I do not play anything while I work on these. I do it in dead silence. And I take whatever is stressing me out and I just kind of envision myself like pulling this energy out of my body and moving it into something really cute and whimsical. And I consider these to be transmutation spells. Because when you look at these, you are not thinking of like all the stressful things that are happening and all the drama that is happening. You're like, oh my god, it's a cute little pig. It's adorable. It's going to make someone's day really great and wonderful. You know, and that is how I use them. I use them to give to people when they are also having a bad day. And I'm like, this will make you feel better. Because one, we are united in spirit. Because we are all going through it right now. If you're not going through it, are you really? But it's just a way of like finding joy and holding on to it and choosing that intentionally and just transmuting that energy, you know, into a different form of energy, just cleansing it all out. So I consider these to be like little tiny cleansing spells, little tiny energy bursts that just kind of balance and calm and do all of that. So that is the magical side of my pigs. I also have one more thing. I have also forgotten for multiple weeks now to show you the bag that I keep my pig supplies in. It is a Kraken. You will find that a lot of the stuff I use, a lot of the accessories and things that I use are aquatic in nature. One of the main deities I worship is Njord. He's the Nordic god of the sea. He's specifically, there are 3 main like oceanic deities within like Norse mythology. Njord is kind of like the protector of the coastlines and like the god of like trade and commerce, you know, like sea merchants kind of stuff. I adore him. I think he's great. And so I just, anytime I see something aquatic, I work with Njord. I also work with Jormungandr, who is like a ocean serpent, you know, like the Midgard serpent who like lives in the ocean. Like there's a lot of, you know, ocean deities I work with. And so when I see aquatic things, I'm like, that's a really easy way to to do that and to show honor. So even though a kraken is not directly related to Njord, it's kind of, it's close. It's getting there. Anyway, that's that project bag done. So that was all of my notes for the pigs. So I think I have successfully made it through a section, 2 sections now, and saying everything I meant to say. We're doing great. The next thing I have is finished objects. So in finished objects, I have a pair of socks. I love these so much. I made these on size 1 flexi flips. I don't have a specific pattern that I use for them. I do 56 stitches and I do 10 rounds for the cuff of 2x2 ribbing. I do 30 rounds for the leg. I do a slip stitch heel and gusset, and then 65 rounds total for the gusset and the foot. And then I do a square toe and I cast off. I do a Kitchener when I'm at 10 stitches per side. I love these. I'm super obsessed with them. The contrast color is North Pole Heather and Knit Picks Stroll Tweed. The main color is still Stroll Tweed, but it's Barn Door Heather. I cannot wait for the fall when I get to put these on my little toesies and wear them, because I know that I'm just going to be obsessed. I already have a pair of socks in the North Pole Heather, and they're some of my favorite socks. They're so soft. They're so good. I'm really, really excited about them. And the next thing that I have is kind of a surprise finished object. I wasn't planning on having a second project done, but when I got to the weekend, when I got to my crafternoon, I just didn't feel like casting on another pair of socks yet, so I didn't. Instead, I cast on a yarn cozy. So this is with some scrap yarn. This is with Felici The Good Guys. And I did, this is a pattern by Nitty Natty, and I'm holding it close so you can maybe see the cables that are in there. I love this yarn. This is a scrap. I had already made socks for my friend Brandon last year, and I had the leftovers staring at me, but I specifically love this colorway because it's very similar to the colors of my favorite soccer team, FC Barcelona. And so I knew that I wanted, like, even though it's not necessarily like my favorite colors, like I wanted to have something that just reminds me of my favorite soccer team, because I've been following them since I was in high school. I've been following them since Lionel Messi played for them like many, many moons ago. Yeah, they're still my team. And I did get to work on it while I watched FC Barcelona play this weekend. They absolutely stomped Girona. I think that's who they were playing. It's a team that starts with a G. And they were like the lowest in La Liga. So like, of course, FC Barcelona was going to stomp them. But it was like 4-1 or something. They got stomped. But yeah, so now I have this. I need some more yarn cozy, so I'll probably make some more soon. But that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, look at this yarn cake. I said last week that I was planning to make my brother a pair of socks because he is kind of going through some shit right now. And I realized that I could do that as a way to, like, you know, make him feel better. So spoiler. It's really dark in my house, fun fact. And so often when I'm knitting with really vibrant things, I don't realize how vibrant they are either until I take them to work, or apparently when I hold them in front of a ring light. I wish I could say it's getting blown out on camera. It's not. Nope. These are the colors. These are the colors. It just, every single shade wants to burn your retinas off, and I am having a great time with these. So I'm using vibrant colors. 1, because my brother loves vibrant colors. 2, because I want it to be, I'm using color magic in this. These are a magical pair of socks for me, like, that I'm making. I'm making a magical pair of socks for my brother. And part of that magic is the color work. And I wanted something that was really vibrant to be a reminder, like, life is vibrant, you know. And yeah. Anyway, I use green because it's for luck. That's for the cuff. And I also, can you see it? No, you cannot see it, but I already woven the end for the cuff, and then I left it long. I'm going to cut it at the end. But when I wove it in, because I'm a Norse heathen and I do things like reading runes, I wove in the rune Wunjo because it's a reminder of happiness. Like, Wunjo doesn't have like a negative interpretation. It's just kind of like happiness and joyfulness, and just realizing that life is good. Life is good, and embrace it. So I put that in there as a reminder for that. I chose yellow because it's a happy color. I chose yellow also because this yarn had more green in it than I expected, and I was like, it's going to be way too green if I use green for all of it. That was definitely part of the call. But also just, I feel like yellow is a really happy color. It's like, this is luck, this is happiness. And then I am almost to the toe. When I do the toe, I'm going to do it in a pastel pink, kind of to like bring in the color you would expect and like the energy you would expect from like a rose quartz in terms of like love, but not necessarily like romantic love, but like self-love and like self-healing. Just bringing in that energy. And then all of it together will kind of like intertwine into like the color work. You have the runes, you have the intention of like, as I've made it, I have been putting intention into the sock to make a little magical pair. So, excuse me. I have not started the second sock yet, but I am very excited about these. I'm trying to get them done kind of quickly because the situation my brother's in is something that he's like, the issue has ended and now we're just kind of in the aftermath. And so there's a limited window of like when it will still be relevant. So I'm trying to get them done and out of here. My brother has man feet, and so I have to make man size socks. And that means it takes a little bit longer. But whatever, we're almost through the first sock. And then we'll do the second one. And that is that magic for you. Do I have anything else I want to say about that? Nope. Okay, I only worked on one other project this week, and that is my blankie. I'll hold it up so you can see. I've really been enjoying this. I would love to get it done soonish. I'm knitting this on a size 5 needle. See, I've gotten like an inch or two done on it. That's okay. I'm knitting it, I'm kind of just freehanding the pattern. So it is knit on the bias, and I was increasing along until I thought it was wide enough. And then I started doing decreases on one side and then continuing increasing on the other side to make it into a rectangle. And I started doing the rectangle side when I had 3 skeins completed. So I am going to continue until I have 3 mini skeins left. This is my Advent yarn, I should mention, from Mermaid's Pearl. Anyway, when I have 3 skeins left, I'm going to like lay it out on my floor and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to be like, do I want this to be? Is this how tall I want this? Or do I need to add more? And if I need to just add more stroll on one side than the other, that's fine. I have, I think, 3 more balls of this. So I can just do a whole bunch of black and just have it be super uneven. Like, that's fine. Not worried about it. But I am really enjoying work on this. It's so squishy. It's so soft. And I just can't wait to snuggle up underneath it. And I've been enjoying working on that as a break from socks because I have been knitting so much sock. Just sock city over here. I did not work on my other 2 projects that I've been showing. Kalara I didn't work on just because I didn't really feel like it. I've just been very like one-track minded, I guess. But I plan to finish my Kalara shawl sometime in April. That is my goal. I've made this a goal for myself because when I finish it, I can add a yarn to my yarn spinner that I want socks out of. But I can't do that until Kalara is done because I want to use it for the contrast. And then the other one I have not worked on is my tardigrade. I don't know if I'm going to finish the tardigrade. Things are kind of weird right now. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm putting it into hibernation for now and just kind of like seeing what happens in the world. Because the tardigrade might not get done. We're just gonna leave it at that. I don't want to put drama on the internet. Tardigrade might not get done. Anyway, that leaves us with acquisitions. So this week, in wholesome and whimsical things that happened to me this week, I was at work the other day and one of my friends who I don't talk to very often. His name is Stefan. I adore the crap out of him. I don't see him very often. I see him like maybe once a year because we are very busy people and like our schedules don't align, whatever. He calls me and I can't answer because I'm at work, but I was like, you can text me. I was like, what's up? And he says, hey, I'm at Joann's. Do you want anything? Just the way that you would like, you know, call your partner, be like, I'm at the store. Do you need milk? He's like, I'm at Joann's. What do you want? So I told him what I wanted. And I have not opened this yet. Stefan bought yarn for me. I paid him back, but I think he left Joann's with like $32 worth of stuff. And my stuff was like $25 of it. And then because we were both busy, he had to ding dong dish it on my doorstep the other day. And when I got home, there was still a bag of yarn. So let us look. I have not opened this yet. So oh my god. This hurts my eyes. I love aggressively dyed yarn. It's just like painful to look at. Like that is I'm gonna have some chaos with this. This is all gonna be Big Twist value yarn. This is the color Slime. It's worsted weight. I don't typically, ooh, it's soft. Thank God. I don't typically work with worsted weight, but I do love blankets every now and then. I want to knit like 1 to 2 blankets a year. So when he was like, do you want yarn? I'm like, first of all, I don't usually buy yarn at craft stores because it's worsted weight. I only usually work with fingering weight day to day. But I can always, always, always buy a blanket and make an acrylic blanket. So I have 2 of the lime. My yarn is falling. I have 1 hot pink. I believe this is just named hot pink. Is it? Yes, hot pink. Which I believe I had asked him for 2, but that's okay. 1 hot pink. And then finally, this is paler than I thought it was going to be, and that makes me kind of sad, but I have 1, 2. Oh my god. Scent help. I have 3 of this one. This is mint. 3 of these. So I'm thinking these 3 will probably be a blanket on their own, and then the ridiculous lime and hot pink will also probably be a blanket of its own. Probably. We will see. I don't work with worsted enough to be like, to like look at this and be like, ah, yes, this is definitely like this size blanket quantity. So I'm going to have to look at some patterns and different things, but I'm just very excited. Very excited. It says on here, it has a little visual on here that says a 50-inch by 60-inch blanket needs 4 of these. That sucks for me. I don't know. I'm going to figure out my life. In the meantime, I have yarn. Very, very, very excited. Stefan, if you're watching, thank you. I love you. You're the bomb diggity, and I wish I saw you more often. We are not done with acquisitions, though. However, we are also not done talking about magic. You thought we were done. We are not done. So, this is all of the yarn scraps that I used last year. I keep them meticulously. Every project bag I have a little like Ziploc bag in it that I put scraps in, and then at the end of the year I put them all into 1 jar, and that goes onto my altar. And then I also mark it, you can't see that, with runes. So I have Kanaz, I have Gabo, I have Yira, all on here as a blessing. And I keep them for a full year. I keep them onto my altar. I usually put them on there for Yule, and then I leave them on there at least through in bulk, possibly further. Right now we're in Ostara. This is still on my altar. That's okay. It'll probably continue to be on my altar for a little bit longer. However, I decided that with the yarn ends, so the reason I keep them on there is because I believe, and this is very intuitive, that like the energy of the thing that I made is still in those yarn ends. And I want to like make sure to like keep them and not just be like, oh, this is going to go into a landfill, you know? And if I worked with 100% natural fiber, I would comb them out and then like put them back into nature and like let the little birdies put them in their nests. I work mostly with wool nylon blends. That's harmful to animals. The nylon does not biodegrade and it can choke small creatures. I'm not trying to kill the birds. That's not my energy. I'm not doing that. So instead, what I'm going to do with all these cute little yarn ends is I'm going to knit a gnome, and I'm going to fill it with my yarn ends and keep it forever, because I will know that it is full of all of the energy of everything I made in 2024. So I got this book, Gnomes of Grimblewood. It is probably showing backwards on the screen. I apologize. I'm not sure which one I'm going to make yet, but I am very excited. I am very excited. This is like the most whimsical thing. Oh my god! Can I show you this? Look at its little butt. Maybe I'll make that one. I don't know. That one's really, really cute. That one's Nori. Okay, I'm getting distracted. So I got this for acquisitions. And then that's it. That's it for knitting stuff. I was like checking my notes to make sure. That is it for knitting stuff. If you were just here for knitting, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoy having your company. Leave a like, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment down below. Tell me what whimsical things you're working on or how life is going. Tell me something fun and positive that's happening in the world. Whatever. I don't know. I enjoy that you're here. However, if you are here because you were here for all things whimsical, let's talk about the model kits I made this week. Spoiler, I have extra of them. So I told you last week, my job started a model kit club. And by my job, I mean my friend Tony started a model kit club. Literally by like just barging into people's offices and being like, let's talk about Gundam. As you do. Also, I should mention this about my job. Please ignore the dog. My roommate is probably coming home. My job feels like an episode of The Office basically every day. And like an episode of The Office, everything is episodic. So like the things that happened last week, no pertinence whatsoever to like what's happening this week. So like last week we had a model club with like 6 people. This week Jay and I are not talking to each other about anything that's not directly work related. Lewis may not even like work here anymore. We don't know. I don't know. He's disappeared for like 3 days. And Sam never built her kit. I am obsessed with models, but not with Gundam. And Tony's doing whatever Tony feels like doing, which is all the stuff all the time. So there's that. But in bright news, I made a Gundam. It's really washed out. It is such a piece of crap. It is. I didn't know what I was doing, and apparently I didn't follow the instructions properly, and so there's just like little tiny nubs everywhere, and the parts don't really fit together. And Tony broke one of the pieces of armor on the back. It wasn't me, it was Tony. And there's a horse that goes with it, and it doesn't fit on the horse. I can't get it to fit on the horse. Tony also tried to fit it on the horse. It's not happening. So that's my Gundam. I don't know what Gundam this is. I have no idea what character this is. This is also not the right headpiece. It just came with the kit, and I said I like that one better even though it's missing a piece. However, it did make me excited to build things. So I went to Le Target, and I got a Pokemon Lego and put that together the other day. Look at that little Jigglypuff. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Look, it's so cute. I love this thing. I love this thing. So I'm having a great time with that, and I've decided I do want to continue building model kits. But I kind of want to do them one at a time. You're not going to take over the passion that I have for knitting, of course. I've been knitting for over 20 years. I have not been building model kits for 20 years. No. But I did go onto the Great River, aka Amazon, and order the next kit that I want to make. So that is my final acquisition, final thing for this episode. I have one of the AT-STs from Star Wars. I'm really excited. I'm not sure. I'm trying to get this like without the ring light, and like that's whatever. I'm not sure when I'm actually going to build this because I don't have a good like table set up to work on it. But I'm really excited about it. I am such a Star Wars nerd, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to work on this and just do all the really fun nerd stuff. So, yeah. I'm checking my notes to make sure I didn't forget anything. I didn't. The final thing I want to talk about, life. Life is still lifing. I have D&D coming up on Sunday, and I'm really excited about that. I just started a new campaign. My character is the greatest. I just want you all to know. My character's name is Milkweed Borbane. Milkweed is spelled MIL_KOUID. Milkweed is a half orc, half halfling monk who she grew up on a commune. And she's chill with everything, and people make up religions, and she goes, yeah, of course you do. I believe this. She has no concept of critical thinking. Everything she believes is probably conspiracy theory, but she's not a conspiracy theorist exactly. She's just kind of like, I can't disprove you, so I guess you're right about like everything. Everything. The D&D world that we're in is based on Miyazaki's Nausicaa, which is one of the like pre-Studio Ghibli films. So there's like these giant bugs called ohms that like just listen to sound and stuff. I don't know. I don't really know what's happening. Tomorrow's our second day of the campaign because we're only meeting once a month because, you know, we are adults in our 30s. And that is what you do. And I don't know, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a great time. So, yeah. Got that coming up. I think that's all I have for this weekend. It's going to be a kind of quiet weekend. Probably going to get a lot of crafting done. Might just flop and not do anything for a day or two. We'll see. And yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you so much for being here. I enjoy your presence. Leave a comment if you got to the end. Like this video. Subscribe to the channel. It makes my ego feel better. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.